Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Barbara Ware, and I'll be your host for today's webinar, Unlocking New Financial Strategies for the Office of the CFO. We have a great panel of speakers today from both Strategic Information Group and Prophix. But before I turn this over to them, let me go over a couple of housekeeping items. First, please note that this webinar is being recorded and everyone will be receiving a link to the recording in the coming days. All attendees are muted, and so communication with the panel will be limited to texting within the chat or the Q&A function. We have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, so be sure and enter any questions you have in the Q&A panel on your screen. You can earn 1 continuing professional education credit for participation in today's session by answering all the poll questions, there are 4 of them, and completing the post-event survey. There'll be a code at the end of this presentation with a link that'll take you to the survey. You'll also receive that link when you get the recording and the copy of this deck. Now, without further ado, let me turn the microphone over to Walter Little, who is Technology Solutions Manager here at Strategic. Walter?
Yep. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today as we talk about Prophix One platform and artificial intelligence and how that can help the Office of the CEO. I am pleased to introduce our speakers today, Matt Mayhew, who's a Senior Product Marketing Manager at Prophix, and Rachel Chung, who's the Alliances Manager for the channel at Prophix. And they'll be speaking with you today about Prophix One. Next slide. So just a little bit about the 2 companies presenting today. So Prophix is a cloud-based financial performance platform that integrates data from multiple systems to give you one source of truth for all of your CFO's office's needs around budgeting, planning, forecasting, reporting, and consolidation. By doing so, it helps companies save time and generate better insights and results, allowing them to be more agile in the quest to improve profitability and minimize financial risk. Strategic Information Group is a QAD channel partner since 1992. Our existence is about helping companies such as yours find technology solutions that help you meet your business goals around ERP and other solutions as well. So we provide application and technical consulting and services around those systems. And we're really about helping you drive your business growth through technology and the efficiencies that those bring. Next slide. So today we'll be talking about several topics related to the Prophix solution. Starting with a general discussion of the evolving landscape of the Office of the CFO and how artificial intelligence can play a role in that. Then look at some specific use cases around that, and then talk about risk reduction and adopting an AI strategy. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of a platform-based financial tool provider such as Prophix. Next slide. And I'll hand it to Matt Mayhew at this point to talk about the current landscape and artificial intelligence. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Walter, and thank you, everyone, for attending today. It's a pleasure to be here, and we've got some really exciting topics to discuss. AI is a buzzword that I feel is on everyone's tongue these days, and so we're going to jump into that. And the purpose here is I want to make sure that everyone attending has something they could take away. So I've got some really interesting use cases and examples that are, a little bit more attainable. And then I've got some more that might be a little more aspirational. And then after that, we're going to discuss the integrated platform and how that's going to help the Office of the CFO. And so, thank you for the introduction, Walter. And before we jump into those exciting topics, I wanted to really set the stage. With the macroeconomic landscape that's continuously changing, we're finding that, finance and accounting leaders are facing new challenges. The first is that, there's really a lack of talent that's out there, right? There's folks aren't as readily available, and it's hard to find the right fit to bring into the organization. The talent that is out there is getting more and more expensive, and it's being much more difficult to find folks to come in and help you in your team and your organization. And another challenge that we're seeing that finance and accounting folks are facing is the lack of real-time data. And these three new challenges actually were brought up in a survey that we recently did. Prophix surveyed over 700 finance leaders across North America and Europe in various industries: professional services, healthcare, construction, real estate, higher education, just to name a few. And they shared how the finance function is evolving and adapting to meet the opportunities and challenges of today. And so, how are leaders preparing to address these new challenges as well as the old standby challenges that you've always had, and really future-proof finance and their organizations? And how they're doing that is really, it's being leaders and being innovators within their business, right? So we're finding that finance folks and accounting folks are no longer just number crunchers. They're innovative people that want to drive value and efficiency. They're analytical. They're seeking opportunity for things to be more efficient and to be better, with the bottom line being to drive financial performance, really. It's no longer just the IT and the tech folks who are driving innovation within the business. And that makes sense when you think of finance people's minds, right? They look at things logically. And if there's a logical way to improve, they want to do it. And so how are we able to improve the best and fastest? And it's really with automation. And that's what we're going to talk a lot about today. But it's not as easy as just saying it, right? And so there's barriers to automation, and really navigating these barriers is essential for the future of finance. Now, many of the manual tasks that keep finance teams busy can be automated. And so, what barriers are standing in the way of automation? First, it's a skills and training gap, right? And so you have to either train the folks you have with these skill sets, or hire these potential skill sets to be able to handle these new tools that are able to bring these efficiencies and these automations to life. The second barrier is funding, right? That's always going to be a problem. How do we pay for it? How do we, prove its ROI? How can we justify this expense? And then last but not least is the time to implement and learn. You have to train your teams to make the best use of the technology, whether it's AI, whether it's a new point solution, or it's an integrated platform. You can't just hand out the tools and spread the data. You have to connect people with the right data and align the right skill sets so that you take advantage of these new tools and these new opportunities. And that's a big missing piece for a lot of finance and accounting teams. But don't worry, we found that 43% of finance leaders surveyed said that finding innovative ways to increase efficiency and generate insights is their main focus. And that really gives CFOs an opportunity to be a leader and guide their companies through their AI and their new automation strategies. And this really paints an encouraging picture, showing that many of our peers are actively seeking innovative solutions to enhance their departments and really help drive the success of their businesses. And so at this time, I'd like to take our first poll question of the day. And so, Barb, if you could push it out, I will read the question and the options. So the first question is, what technology have you either recently or will you be investing in? And the options are cybersecurity, planning, budgeting, and forecasting solutions, risk management, AI and machine learning, or maybe it's something else that we didn't put on the survey. So if you take a moment to think this through and answer it, and we'll look at the results here in a moment. All right, Barb, let us know when you're seeing a good amount of answers come through.
I think that's about it. Here we go.
Okay. And I didn't see the results pop on my screen. So could you just give me oh, there we go. Perfect. All right. Looks like planning, budgeting, and forecasting is leading the way. That makes a lot of sense. Risk management and AI machine learning sort of coming in second. So that actually aligns well with what we saw during our survey. And so from the survey, we saw some intriguing trends in tech investment priorities. Now you've got your traditional ones like, budgeting and planning and forecasting, which carried the day in our survey here, our little impromptu survey. Then we also saw your traditional investments like cybersecurity and risk management, which you're always going to have to invest in, right? It's so important to keep your data and keep your businesses secure. However, the interesting trend was the steady climb in AI investments. Now, this trend is only going to continue to surge, especially as we navigate through the complexities of the year, and the perception of AI is continuing to evolve rapidly. And so at Prophix, we've really embraced AI, and our implementation of AI enables finance professionals to gain insights quickly, effortlessly. We believe that AI isn't just a buzzword, but it's really a game changer for the world of finance. AI empowers the office of the CFO to unlock the full potential of their data to make strategic decisions like never before. I like to say we're on the cusp of what I call an iPhone moment. I'm not sure if the folks on the call remember what life was before the iPhone. But you could actually look at, it's on YouTube, you could actually watch the product launch of the iPhone. Steve Jobs was on stage in his little black turtleneck, and he was sharing the screen, and all he did was swipe across the screen with one finger to unlock the screen, and the crowd audibly gasped, like they had seen nothing like that ever before. And so it was really a life-changing moment. And maybe that's not the right analogy for this group, but maybe we're on the verge of an Excel moment, right? I'm not sure. I can't see a raise of hands, but just think to yourself, for the folks on the call, if there's anybody that remembers finance and accounting before Excel, right? What that was like. And so AI is really, I think, going to have that type of impact on our world, our business. And, what we're going to look at today is just sort of the tip of the spear of that. So I pulled this quote. Mark Topps is sort of an influencer on LinkedIn that I follow. And he said that if 2023 was the year of AI, what should we expect in 2024 and really beyond? And I definitely think we're going to look back maybe 5, 10 years and say, wow, 2023 was a landmark year. I actually distinctly remember where I was the first time I ever heard about what a GPT was. I was sitting in the office, and my PR guy came over and he's like, "Hey, you got to come check this out." And it was really exciting, right? It was a bit of a mystery at first. We were playing around with it. We were, asking it silly questions. And I went to a dinner, one night, and that was right after the news of Taylor Swift, the singer, was dating the football player Travis Kelce. And so we asked ChatGPT to write a song in the styling of Taylor Swift about breaking up with a football player, and it spit out a pretty good lyric, and so we're having fun with it. But it's moved really fast, right? And it's almost a little scary as well with what has happened in such a short amount of time. I recently sat in on a product demo for a vendor of ours. They do our video hosting, and they were showing a beta version of a product where if you upload a 2-minute video of yourself, a video of yourself reading and presenting. So if I was on camera today, we could have done a 2-minute snippet of my presentation, and then you give it a script, and it will turn around and will give you a video of an AI version of yourself reading that script. And so, that's kind of a little scary about how quickly that's moved, and some of the use cases and possibilities that may come of that. And so, really it's an opportunity for us to take advantage and really focus on the areas of our day-to-day lives in finance and accounting, and leverage this really emerging, exciting technology, and really make our lives better. And so that's what I'm hoping to do with today's presentation, is give you a few examples, then some basic ones and maybe some more aspirational ones for you. So let's look at it. I really like to break it into two types of AI, right? You've got on your left the green side, which is your traditional AI, and I think that's more around decision making, really focused on numbers, right? Think of credit scoring and anomaly detection and fraud detection. And then if you think of generative AI, which is the right side, the blue circle, I really think of that as the storyteller. It's able to produce content. It's able to literally have a conversation with you, right? Answer questions in real language, communicate with it. And you could see some examples, right? Writing tasks, financial scenario generation, report generation. But I think when you get to the middle, right, that's where for FP&A teams, it's going to be transformational. It's going to unlock exponential value from both domains. And, sort of with our powers combined, you're really going to be able to take advantage of it. And you can see a couple examples that we threw down there. So recommendation engine, demand forecasting, audit risk detection, database insights. And so it's an opportunity to really combine that storytelling, communication in real language with the decision based and the numbers based and really combine those two. It's going to be really powerful. And so let's look at some use cases, right? Let's look at how you could solve problems today, some of the problems that you may or may not be facing with AI. And so I like to think of generative AI, and this is actually pulled from McKinsey, right? They've got the impact on finance functions, and they call it the 3 A's, right? Automation, automate tedious, time-consuming tasks, data management, taking data from one source to another. That's an opportunity to really automate that function with AI. Augmentation, right? Enhance efficiency through predictive analytics, through narratives, enable more informed decision making. I'm going to discuss this idea of human-led AI assisted decision making a number of times throughout this presentation. And so allow the AI to do the hard work, surface up the data to you, to your team, and then let your humans make decisions because of that or with that data. And then acceleration, right? Speed up processes, speed up whether it's your reporting cycles, whether it's your close, just speed everything up, eliminate the need to go back and forth, eliminate the need to really dig into data, let the AI do that for you. Because we already found out earlier in the presentation that talent is hard to come by. So don't waste their time with the minutia, with the scut work, right? Allow them to help lead the business. Allow the AI to assist them, and then let those highly, capable humans make decisions and really help drive the business instead of just get stuck in that scut work. And so to start sort of brainstorming here, here's a list that McKinsey put together of use cases and their impact as well as their feasibility. And so you've got scenario and response planning, you've got predictive cash flow forecasting, digital reporting, real-time performance tracking, market value analytics, fraud protection, cost analysis, just to name a few. And so when you're leveraging AI and the power that it brings to automate and augment and accelerate, you're able to really get a lot more of your nice to haves done, right? You've got your core business function that you have to do today. Well, when you're offloading a lot of that time consuming, really, data intensive work, you could then really accomplish a lot more. And so that's really the power of what AI brings to the table. And so my first use case is going to be an account reconciliations use case. Now, account reconciliation has always been a manual process, right? There's lots of volume and transactions to reconcile. Well, this is a use case that I think hopefully everybody on the call can take advantage of today, right? Microsoft recently launched their Copilot for Finance. And if you have Microsoft 365 suite of applications, you could take advantage of this today. And so hopefully, this is something that you could play around with after this call if you haven't yet. And so what Copilot does is it enables users to ask questions by typing a prompt. So think generative AI again, right? The storyteller side of it. And you prompt it in natural language. And then what that does is it translates your request into queries and goes into the back end of your business systems and data, and it's going to produce answers for you. And so what you're doing here, what you're seeing on the screen is they're reconciling customer accounts as part of the collections process. Now we know that there can be a lot of accounts to reconcile. And in this example, what AI has done is it's helped suggest which accounts to prioritize using natural language to explain the reconciliations. And it can even provide, payment plan suggestions for the customer. So this way, your collections team, your humans, only have to focus on the unreconciled transactions, right? So eliminate all of that work that can be handled by the AI and focus your humans on the areas that, their impact can really help. And so this is a pretty, simple example. But if you're investing in 365, you can go play around with today and hopefully, have a quick win that you can pull from this webinar. So let's look at a little more complicated example, if you will. And so this is a dedicated, example through our solution, but there are other vendors that have, complex reconciliations like bank, AP, AR, where they're going to use machine learning to identify patterns and automate transaction matching. So a lot of this is going to be rules-based matching to define and execute. And so you have matching rules based on the predefined criteria. Now, vendors are going to provide you with AI that can identify patterns and make automated matching decisions for you in really an effort to boost accuracy and efficiency of your team. So in this example, you could see that the tool has figured out that $89 transaction, this wire transfer here, on the GL side corresponds to this waiver wire and fee on the bank statement side. And so this is a very simplified example, but you can imagine having to deal with multiple entities, currencies, tons of accounts, and you could see how this use case can easily grow, especially if your company is growing and you're able to really bring a lot of efficiency to the account reconciliations process. So let's look at some applications of AI for FP&A software today. Now, when you think of the evolution of AI, I mean, it's really happened quite quickly, but it's no different than any other piece of technology. It started off as something that was really only used in the upper echelon of enterprises, requiring a ton of custom coding, custom building. Everything was expensive and custom. But then, like any good piece of technology, any good piece of software, organizations and technology providers found ways to package it up and democratize it. And so no matter your business, you have the potential to leverage this technology. Now, the nice thing is that we're going to break this into 3 examples of AI in FP&A software today. So we'll talk through 3 core areas, the first being anomaly detection, the second being data and analysis through insights, and the third being a task assistant. And before we do that, I'd like to take an opportunity to ask our second poll question of the day. So Barb, if you want to push that live. Our second question is, what is your organization's #1 challenge relating to FP&A today? Is it on the planning side, so financial forecasting inefficiencies and credibility? Is it on the planning side, organizational misalignment? Maybe it's reporting where operational data, not enough data, it's too little, too late, or takes too much time to get. Consolidations, cumbersome financial consolidation process, or maybe you're dealing with foreign currency translation inefficiencies. So I'll give everybody a moment to think through that and put their answers in. And Barb, keep us posted when you think we've got a good amount of data in there.
Just a few more minutes, I think. Okay, that's going to do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Financial forecasting and efficiencies, credibility, that sort of aligns with what we were seeing as the challenges earlier on. And so that makes a lot of sense. So let's keep that in mind. So forecasting and efficiencies and credibility. So as we look through some of these use cases, let's keep that in the back of our minds. Okay, so this first example, this is a classic example. So someone gets a chart or a piece of information that's visual, right? Visual analytics are great. Any data provider, any software provider worth their salt has a dashboard. Hopefully you could edit what people see depending on their function in the business. And it's really the simplest form of understanding information that you could put together. Now, the most common issue with visual analytics is, or with really any kind of reporting, is the fact that people can't always interpret what the data is telling them. Obviously, Up and to the right usually means good, down equals bad, right? But what does that mean? What's driving that? And ultimately, what does that mean for the business? And so what AI can do with what we call chart insights is help tell a narrative behind the data. So again, kind of that middle of the Venn diagram earlier, where you've got the ability to tell a story of numbers and data. And so this leads to the human-led AI supported decision making, which I mentioned earlier. And so what happens is in plain text, you can get a synopsis of what the graph is telling you. So it uncovers meaningful insights, trends in the data that might not be easily apparent on screen. And the AI is able to look at all of the data behind the charts, not just the readout at the end. And so it creates a level playing field and ensures everybody is interpreting the data the same way. And it's really crucial for decision making. So, you walk into those meetings, those board meetings, those executive meetings, and everybody's reading from the same playbook. And so that you're eliminating the back and forth, you're eliminating the, whose data is the most accurate and, why you're eliminating sort of that need to go back and dig into, what's behind the data. You've already got that, and you've got that, readily available at your fingertips. And so chart insights is going to be our first insight, or excuse me, our first use case. And our second one is, another common thing that people use FP&A software for is budgeting and forecasting, right? And so what AI is able to do with what we're calling contribution insights is give you a comparative analysis, help understand the change, provide context, various analysis, right? What caused the variance? If you're 12% off your forecast, why? What caused it? What was the contribution behind it? And so you could use AI to understand that change in context. And so in this example, and let me go back and replay it again. AI is able to show us that we've got variance in Q1. So let's dig into that. And we'll see, all right, so we had a problem in March. Let's dig further into that. We see we have a problem with our wholesale division. We're 12 in the red here. Let's drill in and let's see what's going on. And then these insights are able to give us in real time, or excuse me, in natural language, an example of what's going on. And so you could see that the wholesale decreased 12.4 million over budget version. That was driven by Futurepreneur. They were 40% below. It was actually helped offset a little bit by Gizmo Labs. They were plus 7.5, as well as Highline was up 6 and almost a half. And so that's able to really very quickly see what's going on. And obviously, this is a very rudimentary example from our demo environment, but you could see how this could be very powerful. Think of the data that you're looking at on a day-to-day basis, right? If you've got a $12 million variance, how long does that take you to figure out what's driving that and what's causing it, right? And so being able to have a quick breakdown to be able to say, okay, in real language, here's the problem, here's our wholesale partner that's struggling. We've got a couple wholesale partners who are helping offset it, but that's ultimately leading to the variance that we saw in Q3, which was where we saw that. And so, this type of insight is going to be invaluable to really help you determine what's driving what you're seeing on that top level. And so you could easily determine what factors drove the revenue trend by revealing what territory, what product, maybe it's a customer, contributed to that number. All right, our next example. Now, this is a classic financial month-end reporting example, right? So maybe it's board reporting, maybe if you're doing XBRL disclosure reporting, but whatever you've got to do, right? These are all things that you need to sit there and say, okay, what do I say? Like, what's the story? I owe people information. What are we seeing? AI can help get you started with that. It can provide you an explanation and context behind the data that you're seeing. It can make your lives easier by helping you spot and understand the trends, understand the variances, which will minimize the back and forth between finance and other parts of the business, eliminating anecdotal comments because AI is based in facts, based on numbers. And what you're seeing here is really the start of your report. And the nice thing, and what we've seen in the industry, is that AI is also able to learn from you, from your tone, right? And so you upload a couple examples of your previous month-end reports, and it's going to then be able to, give you a readout that's something similar to how you would have reported on it previously, right? So that's not necessarily built into the technology you're seeing on screen, but that's something that's out there and that's going to be coming soon, right? Because if nothing else, we know that AI is moving extremely rapidly, and there's going to be more and more innovation in this area as we move forward. And so those are really three areas that AI can help you with insights. So we had saw your chart, and now this is your reporting insight. And so we've talked about how AI can help provide insights and data behind your number. Now let's see how it can help you with predictive forecasting and really using the power of your data to predict future outcomes. Now, predictive forecasting, this capability is invaluable for businesses looking to anticipate trends, right? Plan resources effectively to make informed strategic decisions. So in this example, what we've done is we've asked our task assistant to run our predictive forecast on our revenue side. Then it's going to kick off that process, which has been set up with our preferred method. So you can see we want to run the predictive forecast. And so by leveraging AI and machine learning techniques, predictive models can rapidly analyze vast amounts of data with incredible accuracy. And it could help provide you with a forecast based on your historicals. Now, the applications that I'm thinking of, think of sales forecasting, demand planning, and beyond, right? With customers, we found this to be a really useful way to kickstart planning cycles or our forecast cycles. So if you know your quarterly reforecast is coming up, you could run a predictive forecast. Then you could have your business leaders adjust where needed. And so this is another example of how AI is really able to, help you. And you could obviously do this without the support of AI, but how long would it take you to do that? How long would it take you to gather all those historical numbers, gather all that data, and extend it out moving forward? So another great example about how AI can really help speed up processes and provide you with that human-led AI-assisted decision making. Okay, scenario planning. I love this example. So scenario planning is a great way to plan for uncertainty, but it's always been historically really time consuming, right? So you want to plan for change, you want to plan for the unexpected, but how do you carve out time to do that, right? You're already so busy with your day-to-day goals, you don't necessarily have time to get to this, right? And so how do you do that? You can leverage AI, right? You can narrow down specific scenarios that can negatively impact your ability to hit your goals. You could also use it to play out scenarios and identify possible solutions that you'd want to implement should a specific scenario take place. And of course, this is all automated, right? So let's think through a few scenarios, right? Let's say interest rates change, right? Let's say your product costs go through the roof and change, right? How is that going to affect your year end? Well, with AI, you could easily do that. And so you could see the graph we put on the screen. We actually pulled this from CEO World, and it defines the planning steps to do scenario planning and where you're able to really kind of hand off that to the AI versus have your humans sort of take that step. And so you'll get this presentation at the end, and you can kind of take a peek at that as well. And so as organizations grow, I think AI's role in scenario planning is really going to only grow as well. And so within our platform, we take scenario planning very serious. And once you've finished your reforecast, you can create several scenarios out of them, and you could stress test these plans to measure, your vulnerability and develop strategies to improve these forecasts. So, we talked through some scenarios already, right? So market changes, interest rate spikes or changes, raw material cost changes. All of these things can dramatically affect your business. And with AI, you're able to easily play out these scenarios so that if or when one of them happens, you're able to quickly guide the business through that change. You already know what the playbook is, and then you're able to then just execute. And so this is really powerful. Okay. And so next we're going to look at anomaly detection and how you're able to leverage machine learning and AI to really reduce risk to your business. When all of your financial data is centralized, intelligent AI can continuously learn from your data and offer insights into anomalies when data is outside the norm, right? And so AI is continuously learning from feedback, and accuracy and efficiency can be grown and improved. And so anomaly detection performs complete analysis of all of your transactional data across your GL, your AP, your AR, your subledgers. And within a matter of moments, it will provide you with a snapshot of the anomalies lurking within. And so this is going to dramatically speed up your financial processes like internal audits, account reconciliations, consolidations, and close by eliminating hours of manually checking spreadsheets, spot checking, verifying data. And essentially what it's going to do is pre-audit all of your transactions for you, enabling you to build in assurances that your financial figures are correct and free from errors. And so what you can see on the screen is, a very, again, high level example, but if we ran the anomaly detection, it would have flagged 2 transactions, which is, less than 1% of your ledger as risky, high risk, and then about 47 transactions of medium risk. And so what you've got is 49 transactions that your humans, that your employees, your team needs to go take a peek at, and essentially save them from having to worry about almost 3,000 transactions worth north of 34 million, right? So you're able to really focus the humans on the transactions that need their attention and eliminate the need for them to worry about the bulk of the transactions out there, right? And so, a lot of time when it comes to finding risky transactions or malicious activity, people may think that that transaction itself or that transaction in question is the primary cost, but actually it's often the opportunity cost or the cost of your team to go in and find it, right? And find the needle in the haystack, and then go in and investigate. And so that's going to be orders of magnitude higher than the transaction itself. And so by identifying those 50 or so transactions that were high or medium risk, you've really narrowed the focus of your team and really made them much more efficient. Because I always like to think of anomaly detection as sort of the tip of the iceberg, right? With traditional methods, you're only able to really spot 5% or a small percentage of the iceberg that's above the waterline. But when integrating AI, you're essentially draining the ocean and able to see the complete picture of everything that's there that's lurking beneath the waterline. And so how does it do this? Well, in this example, it was flagged because of a couple of key inputs, right? So it was inputted manually, so that was one flag. It has a high monetary value, so that's a second red flag. And then it has a suspicious keyword, and then it was also inputted outside the expected pattern of input, right? And so machine learning learned when to expect transactions, and so this came in outside of that pattern, and so it was flagged. And so then you're able to go and investigate and do what you need to accordingly. Okay, and so at this time, let's take a peek at our third poll question. Are you currently using any AI tools at all? So have you investigated ChatGPT or Copilot or something else out there? And so the options are all the time, a few times a week, rarely, never, or maybe it's prohibited by your company. Okay, let's see. Oh, so we're pretty spread out. So one person's using it all the time, a few times a week, rarely, never. Yeah, all right. That aligns with what we've seen. And so the next part of this presentation will be quite helpful for the folks that say they've never or they rarely ever use it, and the person that uses it all the time, maybe not as much, but maybe you can get something out of this one as well. And so what we're going to look at next is how to adopt an AI strategy. So we've seen AI's potential to revolutionize the mundane, enable finance and accounting professionals to unlock quicker, more profound insights. I really enjoy this quote from Steve Chase. With the right governance, policies, and controls, organizations can strike a balance between being bold, fast, and responsible to accelerate the value of AI. And I think that's a key part, right? You want to be bold and fast. You want to take advantage of everything that's out there, but you also want to be responsible, right? You want to make sure that the right safeguards are in place to ensure the safety of your business, right? You don't want to go out there and don't want to put all of your secrets onto an open source like ChatGPT. You want to be a little more careful with that. You want to make sure that the vendors you choose have all of the right security and business processes in place. And so let's take a peek here. And I pulled this from IBM's report, How to Build a Successful AI Strategy. But what you want to do is first you want to be curious, right? You've taken the first step by attending today's webinar and other webinars that are thought leadership that are going to give you an example of what's possible. There's a lot of things that are capable out there. There's a lot of use cases for generative AI, for machine learning, for natural language processing, and so research how AI tech is actively being utilized today by your peers. Gain insights into practical use cases that aren't so out there that you're just going to have your security folks in the organization just rolling their eyes at you, right? And you discover the range of challenges that AI can tackle, right? So what's most important? What's going to save you and your team the most time? What's most important to getting your job done? Like what's on your list of nice to haves that you've never been able to get to that maybe AI can help you with that, right? Now, there's also data and privacy concerns. There's ethical considerations and technical limitations as well. There's also, we talked about earlier, there's going to be training. There's going to be time that needs to be invested into learning how to use these tools and learning how to get the most out of them. So, what you want to do is you want to define, your objectives and really identify the right vendor and partners for you. And I think, attending webinars like today and other ones are a great first start to help you find out what's possible and then narrow down what you want to do because there's a lot of potential use cases out there. You want to find what's going to be the best for your business. And then once you've done that, what you can do is build a roadmap, right? These initiatives aren't going to get off the ground overnight. Once you know what you want to focus on, then you could champion the strategy within your organization. You can encourage others to learn and be curious as well. And then you could build alignment with others, other business owners, and start to foster a culture of continuous learning within your organization and within your team. You'll want to establish guidelines. You want to establish rules around how you interact with AI, where that data goes, right? You want to make sure that you're keeping your business secure and safe. But you also want to, make sure that you're pushing the envelope a little bit as well, because AI is here to stay, and taking advantage of it is going to be imperative. Because I guarantee you, the competitors in your space, the folks that your business measures itself against, are going to be taking advantage of it. And so you want to make sure that you're not being left behind and you're not, letting them become more efficient than you. So with that, I am going to take a second to take a deep breath, drink a little water, and hand it over to Rachel. So Rachel, I will continue to drive for you, but I'm going to mute myself and let you take over from here.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt. So I'm just going to go over some of the tech stack. Some of the tech stack here. Next slide. So we're going to just take a step back from Matt's AI and kind of all the key functionalities that Prophix brings. And so we're going to just kind of go into kind of the bread and butter and the basics here. So many organizations we talk about struggle to keep up with the growing demands of their businesses and processes and what they have to run. And so that old age that they have to do more with less is still very relevant. And so often spreadsheets are their go-to solution to manage processes like planning, reporting, account reconciliations, and consolidations. And so they're taking data from different systems like your CRM, QAD, and other ERPs, and they're actually in other parts of your businesses, and you're actually manually entering a lot of that data into spreadsheets. And so before you know it, a lot of those spreadsheets become their source of truth. And so, which inevitably leads to challenges like version control. We've got that bad data, we've got deletions, overwrites, time loss, and a lot of confusion around there. So we're going to go into our fourth polling question before we kind of get into it. So Barbara, if you want to release the questions here. So how many different software solutions is your finance team using today? So is it 1 to 5, 6 to 8, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, or even 20 plus solutions? Okay, perfect. So the majority are, 1 to 5 different solutions your finance team is using today. And then we've got the kind of the second with 43%, 6 to 10 different tech stack solutions. So it's pretty in line with kind of what we've done a lot of research with. So we're going to go to the next slide here. We're going to tie that whole question right in there. So lots of different companies, a lot of different CFOs, tech stacks. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with some of these different solutions here. And so over the years, the CFO tech stack has really grown exponentially. And so with more and more of these solutions available, a lot of these vendors are offering different solutions to different finance challenges. And so it's really easy for the CFO to fall into the trap of acquiring a lot of different tools and a lot of different needs and capabilities here. And so over time, really, it creates a lot of integration headaches for data. You're working in silos and a lot of increased complexity when you're managing and maintaining these systems. And so over time, it does get a little bit unsustainable when you're maintaining and managing a multitude of different software solutions. And so you're really burning a lot of resources in terms of time, you've got your money, and even the learning curve on the solution. So you get to a point where a lot of the managing integrations becomes a full-time job. And so back to that polling question earlier. So according to the Activant research, the average FP&A team uses over 20 plus software vendors. And so that's all part of the tech stack. And so it's really come to the CFOs that are really now realizing that a lot of their benefits of investing in a integrated financial platform. So really a single platform of truth. So you can really eliminate a lot of those data silos, and you can have those common entry points and user experience. And so we can have like standardized security and user management. And we've all got all that data all into one central hub. So we're going to introduce the integrated platform of the Office of the CFO. And so when we're looking at integrated platforms, you can really help to simplify and integrate those processes to really achieve that single source of truth. And so we can quiet down those chaos, drive efficiency, and ensure the finance teams are strategic in their businesses. And so there are a lot of vendors available, they just aren't as highest level. There's like a highest level of enterprise. So mid-market organizations are able to achieve that same result that only the largest budget enterprises could before. And so you're looking at no more broken formulas. You can really collaborate and communicate across your organization. We're distributing reports automatically, and we've got that secure surface of the key insights. And again, one version of the truth. Next slide. Thank you. So when we're looking at the word platform, it's often overused and simply just refers to a collection of data applications under the same cloud provider. And so what makes that true state-of-the-art experience for customers is combining all of that under one roof with those core platform capabilities that really provides a seamless experience for the user. And so we've got that single point of entry into Prophix One through our portal. So it's really simplifies accessing and authenticating and really allows you to move seamlessly between each application. And so a lot of those interfaces simplify the training so you can really grow into the platform. From a data integration perspective, it's really important to actually achieve that single version of the truth. And again, with the Prophix One integration, you're able to seamlessly bring that data into the platform and then centralize the staging data so that all the applications can leverage and share that data back with each other. And so everyone's reading the same in song and book, and all that data is aligned. Just a couple other things I wanted to mention from a security and user management access perspective. You've got your portal, user management and security, and you've got that platform level versus having to jump in and out of applications. And then you've got your workflow. So it helps you manage and orchestrate some of those processes that is handled from a platform level. So you're able to, orchestrate those platforms from close through all the way to your planning, and you've got that centralization. Next slide. So more importantly, I think we're going to just talk about the claims and the facts that we've got a customer success program. So this is where we partner with our customers to review important metrics that really help everyone better understand the ROI of Prophix One. And so these are just some few examples from our customers. And so we really look forward to doing like an annual review down the road with you. And so that's kind of one key takeaway, that these integrated platforms can help solve for the problems that the various point solutions inadvertently cause. And so here's the Prophix One platform. So we really solve for that big tech stack that you manage. And so we're able to seamlessly experience that across the platform. So you can go from account reconciliations all the way down to your budget and planning. And so it makes it a lot easier. So you're not jumping in and out of applications, you're managing workflow, data security processes, and everything's interconnected. So the way you can manage them as well. And so again, you can manage your platform easily through your entire close, reporting, and planning processes with the core platform capabilities. So with your portal, you've got that single sign-on, you've got those data integrations, so you know your data is accurate, security, so different users have different access to security systems, and you've got your workflow, so you can have visibility on potential bottlenecks, who needs to finish a report, who's completed a report. And then lastly, from like a solutions marketplace perspective, it really helps you explore the art of the possible by leveraging best practices, use cases provided by Prophix, and then our partner community and even the customers. So you're really simplifying the ability to get the most out of the Prophix One investment. So I'm going to pass this over to Walter to talk a little bit more about the platform and our connector with SIG.
Yep, thanks, Rachel. Next slide, please. So, we're a longtime partner with Prophix, and we've really made some investments into this partnership with Prophix because we believe in what they're doing. We started working with Prophix. Their calling card was their FP&A tool, and we've watched that evolve into this Prophix One platform that provides so much more than even a few years ago, but even more is possible with the future. And so we've developed for our QAD customers, we've developed the Prophix connector that we can install into your QAD environment to automate sending the data that the Prophix One platform can use at whatever interval that makes sense for your business. So with some customers, that's once a day. I've got other customers doing it once an hour, kind of whenever makes sense. But this is really the beauty of this platform idea, is that we're sending your GL transactions, your subledgers, your trial balances, et cetera, one time, and then all of the different applications that you use within Prophix One is using that single source of data. Rachel was mentioning a minute ago the idea of having lots of different financial tools with lots of different integrations. That has been my reality in the past, working at companies that had 6, 7, 10 different finance tools that we had to get all the same stuff out to each of those tools. The idea of having one place for it to go is really compelling. So, we're ready to help you realize that goal with our Prophix connector that is designed in collaboration with Prophix to get the data into Prophix as quickly as possible. So next slide.
Yeah, I think I could jump back in, Walter, and just kind of put a bow on what we just discussed today before Q&A. I think trends to keep an eye on for 2024 is really the development of specialized use cases for AI. We looked at a handful today. There's only going to become more and more that emerge throughout the year as really the investment that all tech organizations, Prophix, Microsoft, everyone in between are making. And so to keep an eye on that, harness the power of your data, right? There's so much power there. And if you could quickly, easily utilize that to help predict the future outcomes, that's going to be really very valuable. And then I think what Rachel was just going through and Walter just reiterated, right? That one source of financial truth. I talk to customers all the time that, they really wanted to solve one-off problems. They did. And that chart that Rachel showed was great. There's so many great solutions, great vendors out there. Well, the downside to solving all those one-off problems is that now you've got a bigger problem of, you're juggling 15, 20 plus vendors, right? And so that one source of financial truth is going to become a big theme, I think, moving forward. And so at this point, I'm not sure, Walter or Barb, if any questions came in, but we can, happy to answer any on the AI, or Rachel on the platform, or anything else anybody would like to discuss.
So I don't see any questions at the moment, but anybody that has one, please feel free to put it in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll be happy to answer it. Okay, last call for questions. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you everybody for attending today. If this looks interesting to you, go to the next slide, please. If this looks interesting to you, please get in touch with your account representative at Strategic, or email sales@strategic.com, and we can get you started on looking at Prophix One and how it could help your business. Now, as promised at the beginning of the webinar, for people that stayed through the entire webinar and answered the poll questions, if you scan this QR code and take a quick survey, you'll be eligible for, I believe, 1 CPE credit. So if that is relevant to you, please scan the code and get your CPE credit. All right, well, thanks everybody, and hope you have a great rest of your day.